Hello everyone. This is 𝐒𝐿𝐲 here and today we'll be talking about a monster action film called Leio. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Two scavengers are attempting to capture some lizards for money somewhere in a desolate Thai desert until they ultimately make their way to a forbidden zone. However, as soon as one of the men checks on his bait, he realizes that something is wrong. Is incorrect, as he discovers that his pal has vanished, leaving a sizable hole in the earth. The guy slowly approaches the wide aperture while his companion hurriedly leaps out to flee but is ultimately brought back inside. The scavenger spots a monster thing fast approaching the surface before he has a chance to get up, forcing him to flee for his life. The human ultimately makes his way to his motorcycle and attempts to start it right away, but instead, he sees it drifting ahead as the monster grabs hold of him and drags him down into the pit with it. The scavenger eventually manages to recover consciousness, but he quickly finds that he and several other people who have vanished from the hamlet are stuck within the cave with him. The creature soon captures the guy before he has a chance to flee, and starts consuming him mercilessly as well as the other survivors. On the other side, a musician by the name of 𝐾𝐫𝐧'𝐭 is performing on stage in a nightclub while everyone is cheering for him. However, it soon becomes clear that the man is in desperate need of money because he recently lost his job and is now forced to live with his cousin Jane after being evicted from his own home. When the main character gets a call from his family stating that his grandpa has suddenly passed away, things take a turn for the worst. They are left with no option but to go to the far-off city of Leio, where the guy spent his formative years playing with his grandpa, a man who earned his life by digging irrigation channels for fields and who taught the main character all the tricks of the trade. 𝐾𝐫𝐧'𝐭 quickly arrives for the burial for the elderly man and encounters Tony, his grandfather's excavation helper, on the way. He didn't anticipate running across 𝐒𝐿𝐲, a friend from his youth, who had come to pay her respects to the elderly guy as well since the grandpa had saved her life when she was a little kid. It immediately becomes apparent that the lady, who has become a successful influencer, has also chosen to assist the city of Leio by providing prize money for any team that can locate an underground supply of water so they can finally rescue the crops that were damaged by the drought. The main character decides that this is the ideal opportunity to make some money since he intends to join the competition using his grandfather's outdated gear, but quickly learns that the hardware needs some substantial improvements. This causes the crew to start reassembling the vehicle by giving the mechanical many enhancements and injecting personality into it as well, all before hurrying out to the competition in the desert. But when the crew finally makes it to the tournament, they immediately understand that everyone in town is also there to compete for the cash prizes. Very soon, 𝐒𝐿𝐲 enters the arena and announces that the competition has officially begun. He then fires flares into the clouds, causing all of the participants to flee toward the nearby mountains without realizing that their movements have alarmed the monster, which is now fleeing in the same direction. When 𝐾𝐽 and his companions finally arrived at their location, the group started looking for any indications of subterranean water, but no matter how hard they tried, all they found was dry earth. It soon becomes clear that the other competitors are experiencing the same issues despite having much superior equipment and digging machinery since the water seems to have all vanished despite there being an underground route. Unbeknownst to the crowd, a group of diggers uncovered a motorcycle accidentally left behind by the previous scavengers and decided to go sell the equipment rather than continue the competition. Before the people can flee the desert, however, they rapidly discover that something is approaching them from behind. The humans scramble to avoid the subterranean monster, but just as they believe they have escaped the danger, a huge hole suddenly opens up in front of them, swallowing the people whole. Just as 𝐾𝐽 is about to decide to go home for the day because he is running out of ideas for where they should go, he comes upon an old map that his grandpa had left behind. The guy discovers that it includes a number of surveys that the elderly man had already performed, which shows that there is only one area under the mountains that has not yet been visited and prompts the group to get there right now. The sun is almost to set, and most of the contestants are heading back to their homes for the day. However, one team has opted to remain behind in the wilderness where they are barbecuing the lizards they caught for supper. While one guy starts to salute the heavens in celebration of their victory, they are unaware that danger is already there. The man soon realizes that something is headed his way when the monster slashes him into pieces, instantly murdering him. The beast throws the victim's head in the direction of the other individuals, causing them to flee in fear for their lives. When they finally succeed in entering the vehicle, they find the key inside the jacket of their deceased buddy. Before the occupants can decide what to do next, their truck starts to shake, and a large tentacle rips through it from underneath, sending the occupants fleeing from opposite sides. Unexpectedly, one of the men is able to take the key off the deceased victim and ultimately returns to the truck, only to find his other companion immobile in front of the vehicle. He has no option but to go get his friend as a result. However, he soon discovers that the man's torso has been penetrated by a large tail, and a huge lizard is staring at him with ravenous eyes while fully encircling him. The manager of the tournament found the employees' abandoned car the next morning, but they were unable to locate the missing people. This prompts the lady to believe that they should immediately halt the competition, but before they can continue talking, the manager gets an enigmatic phone call and chooses to move the meeting elsewhere. It soon becomes clear that Meek, a wealthy businessman, has also heard about the missing persons. Although he intends to blow up the whole subterranean network to uncover the source of the water, he won't let the tournament end since he wants to save the community by becoming its hero. At the same time, the main character and his pals had come in the Highlands with plans to seek through a remote cave that the man's grandpa never ventured into. Jane can't help but sense that something is following them from inside the shadows as they slowly make their way inside as they get encircled by darkness the farther they go. Tony, however, dismisses her concerns right away, saying that she is being too neurotic since all that is there is rocks and sand. The group continues exploring the cave's depths and ultimately makes a very fascinating discovery. Water remnants are located along one of the cave's walls, indicating that the source must also be nearby. The group starts to party right away after realizing they would win the prize money, but Tony hears a peculiar noise from behind, which prompts him to look around with panic in his eyes, while Jane believes the guy is just having a good time. Tony is abruptly devoured by the enormous monster, causing the occupants to scramble and hurry frantically for the door. The sleazy businessman is also preparing to plant illegal dynamites underground to blow out the channels, but Fong spots this and orders them to halt since doing so would probably also wipe out the environment. As the guy attempts to tell the others that there is a terrifying creature heading this way, which has already murdered one of his companions, the main character swiftly interrupts their debates and runs towards the others with tremendous hurry. The group realizes they are in grave danger when a worker is suddenly taken into the earth and hauled away by the monster before their talk can come to a conclusion. The creature soon surrounds the humans and traps them on top of the platform of the vehicle, forcing them to instantly escape for their truck. As soon as the gigantic creature emerges from underground and roars violently toward the humans before rushing forward with its massive jaws, the humans start to sense sensations coming from underneath their feet. Unexpectedly, the humans are able to avoid the savage onslaught. Jane, meantime, runs to the truck to shelter, but she quickly realizes that the monster is moving right in the direction of the tournament director. The enormous beast then rapidly devours the victim in its maw before shifting its focus to Fong, leaving the guy in a state of shock and terror. The monster rapidly turns its focus to the survivors within the vehicle, trapping the people as a consequence. Fortunately, 𝐾𝐫 manages to hold onto the girl straight away as he attempts to save her from the raging monster, forcing them to leap into the huge hole in the process. The occupants make every effort to avoid making any unexpected movements that would disturb the creature, but they quickly come to the realization that the enormous lizard has chosen to sleep directly on top of the car. Due to the lack of cellular connections, the residents are forced to find an alternative exit. Fortunately, Jane spies a second truck just outside of their car and determines they must escape right now before the monster awakens. While multiple quantities of gooey substances start to rain down the woman's face, the girl gingerly opens the door and gently exits the vehicle. Jane is forced to remain silent as she travels away from the enormous monster. They go closer to the other vehicle to escape the enormous reptile as the businessman notices this and begins to leave as well. However, as Jane gets into the car, she unintentionally sets off the alarm. The monster is promptly awakened by this and swallows the unfortunate victim whole in one bite. At the same time, it is soon made clear that 𝐾𝐽 and his companion both survived the fall, but the group still has to get out before the monster pursues them. The two ultimately arrive to a tunnel with two doors, but 𝐾𝐽 is unsure of which direction they should follow. Fortunately, the guy starts to hear a smartphone ringing from one of the exits and determines straight once that they should go towards the sound. They don't notice they are moving further into the cave's interior, and 𝐾𝐽 ultimately discovers a large number of skeletons on the ground. This indicates that they have really entered the creature's nest, which is home to many eggs that are just ready to break open. The group chooses to follow the ringtone and soon finds their buddy Tony, who is imprisoned within a massive cocoon. Fortunately, the main character learns that his companion is still alive without delay, but he is unable to get the guy out from behind the walls. Fong is surprised to see that there are more people imprisoned within the cave. This leads her to surmise that the lizard is likely catching people to use as food for its young. The main character intends to leave this place right now after realizing there is nothing more they can do, but the lady won't let them, accusing the guy of constantly leaving his family, even his own grandpa, behind. It becomes clear right on that 𝐾𝐈's departure from his hometown was motivated by his displeasure with his grandpa, who was absent during the celebration of the main character's first gold medal. Because of this, 𝐾𝐈 assumes that his grandpa never really cared for him, but 𝐿 corrects him right away. The lady admits that she was indeed bitten by a deadly snake on the same day, but she was thankfully spared by 𝐾𝐈's grandpa, who decided to take the girl to the hospital rather than join the main character in celebrating. 𝐾𝐈 vows he'll never leave his buddies behind after realizing he was mistaken about his father all along, but they must first travel outside to ask for assistance from the locals. The two are unsure of the direction of the exit, but fortunately, 𝐾𝐈 finds a trail of peanuts that the survivors had left behind and chooses to follow them till they leave this area. The monster has already made a comeback, as it drags new victims into its lair, but the populace is unaware of this. The crew rapidly finds the exit since 𝐿 is simultaneously charting their pathways, but they soon come upon a wall that looks strange and is constructed of the same material as the cocoon. Unexpectedly, the wall looks to be quite wet, indicating that there is definitely a lot of water behind and letting the people know that the lizard was probably responsible for sealing up the original water channel while establishing its nest. They are abruptly stopped by a horrifying roar, which forces them to flee since the enormous creature has also noticed them. The squad makes it outdoors in a timely manner, and as they anxiously sprint for assistance, they come across some other competitors. But by the time they realize the enormous lizard has emerged from the building and is charging at them while screaming loudly, it is already too late. Unexpectedly, the employees start pulling their weapons out and rushing the monster while firing their handguns. The beast then leaps forward, flying straight for the victims, slamming them to the ground as it devours them like nothing more than insects while the employees cry in pain. After realizing that they are in grave danger, the main character attempts to save his companion but is instead thrown aside like a flying rag doll. As a result, the girl is immediately devoured in front of his eyes by the enormous beast, who then dashes off and buries itself in the earth. 𝐾𝐈 immediately attempts to pursue the creature but is promptly stopped by the employees, who warn him that he has no chance on his own. The guy shoots the flare pistol up into the sky, realizing that he has to gather the others. His cousin Jane, who turns out to have survived as well, and many other contestants have quickly converged on his spot. Assuring his friends that he has a plan to rescue all the people beneath, 𝐾𝐈 seizes the opportunity to explain to the people about their predicament and assures them that the monster did not murder many of the victims who were kidnapped within the tunnels. The enormous lizard has already carried 𝐿 into its nest and is now looking at Tony. It intends to immediately consume Tony and cause him to scream in pain. Fortunately, the creature is drawn away by something else, which prompts it to rush out the door. It soon becomes clear that one team has entered the caverns to rescue the other victims using the markings that 𝐿 has left behind, while 𝐾𝐈's comrades are using loud music to attract the monster to their position where they have set up a trap to kill it. The enormous beast quickly makes its way to the exit and charges angrily at its obnoxious neighbors. As soon as they see it, the humans immediately bind the monster with the metal cables, paralyzing it in place, but they soon discover the cables are going to snap. The humans decide to take a risk and start backing up their vehicles towards the enormous reptile, piercing it from all sides and causing it to scream in agony. The beast swiftly escapes, however, and starts to assault the main guy by launching his vehicle across the field before screaming ferociously in his direction. Fortunately, a worker fires a Molotov cocktail at the massive foe, causing it to withdraw below, saving the main character from certain death. However, the people soon understand that their companions are in danger and hurry to save them. 𝐿 manages to recover consciousness within a cave at the same moment and rushes to her buddy Tony, but she is shocked to see Jane enter alongside the other employees, who immediately start releasing the victims from the cocoons. The group is eventually able to escape, but as soon as they do, they start to feel vibrations everywhere because the monster is already inside the cave. This causes the businessmen to flee in fear, forcing the others to leave him behind. However, 𝐿 quickly decides to go save the man even though doing so puts her own safety at risk. The survivors eventually succeed in leaving the tunnel and come into contact with the main character and the other employees. However, 𝐿 swiftly learns that 𝐿 is still within the cave. What's worse is that the explosives to kill the monster have already been put up, but 𝐿 won't allow his companion perish in the cave. As he intends to rescue the girl alone and destroy the beast as well, this prompts the guy to grab the detonator. At the same time, Fong has finally caught up to the businessman and is attempting to lead him back to the exit. However, when they come across the enormous lizard, the guy immediately flees like a coward like he did previously. The monster notices this and roars angrily in the direction of the lady, but before Fong can be killed, the main character leaps forward and smacks the animal directly in the head, inflicting severe damage on the lizard. Even though the main character and the monster almost both get crushed by the monster at the same moment, the monster manages to escape when Cow hits the lizard in the neck. Temporarily escaping the area thanks to this, the monster soon starts to pursue them as well, forcing the gang to take cover behind some boulders as it hunts them like prey. Surprisingly, the lizard finds the individuals quite fast. It grabs the lady by the tail and almost bites off the main character's head. When the enormous lizard finally turns to attack the girl, Cow manages to grab the flare pistol and fire it squarely into the creature's face, causing the opponent to release the female. Fortunately, before the monster has a chance to recover, the main character is able to fool it by using his phone, which makes the animal smash the bait, and letting them rush toward the exit while blowing up the dynamites, which simultaneously releases all the water. The humans are forced to flee to higher ground in an effort to escape the approaching flood, but the gigantic monster attacks them shortly after and manages to grasp hold of the main character's leg. Just before the victims are about to be slain, the water rushes forward and pushes the enormous lizard away from the people while sending it in the direction of its demise because Fong is determined to save her buddy. Due to their quick escape from the caverns and eventual success in reaching the outdoors, the people are now free to go. The trio quickly reunites with their pals as a number of water fountains start shooting into the sky, putting an end to the village's protracted drought. The businessman has managed to grab a massive egg from the terrifying creature while managing to escape the flood, which is something the people are unaware of on the other side of the subterranean channels. What do you think of this movie, guys? Tell me in the comments section below. Please hit like if you like my videos and subscribe for more. Next time, I'll see you all.